Hey there, my name is Abe. I'm from cinemadailyus.com, and I'm thrilled to be here today with David Cross, the star of The Dark Divide. How are you today, David?
I'm good. How are you, Abe?
I'm
Seem
great.
in good spirits?
Absolutely, absolutely. Can you tell me what appealed to you about this role in this film?
I, I like the script and the story. I guess I should say I like the story, and I like this idea of this guy who, the character evolves and he changes and he goes on this arduous journey, both physically and mentally, um, and the script itself was good. And then I met with Tom Putnam, the writer director, and that was kind of the final piece to make sure that we clicked and had the same ideas and the same approach, I guess, too, because you don't want to go into something like this, which is, going into it is going to be a very hard shoot with somebody you think is an asshole. So we met, and that was important for him as well. Make sure I'm not some difficult, diva actor or whatever. And we met at a bar in LA for what was going to be an hour and ended up being 3 hours. And at the end of the meeting, I called my agents like, yeah, man, let's do this.
That's great. And you're known primarily for your comedy work. And while I watched the trailer after seeing the film and it does make it look a bit like a comedy, I would say this is a bit of a serious departure for you. Is that something that was intentional?
Yeah, and that was also part of the appeal of doing this project is I don't really get these opportunities very often. And this was so good and challenging. I definitely, I wanted to take it while I could. Um, yeah, I don't think it's that. Uh, I mean, there's moments of lighter kind of levity to it, but it's definitely not comedy by any stretch. It's. I mean, God, if it didn't have those handful of moments, it would be kind of a brutal experience, But yeah, I think it's well balanced, you know.
I agree. I do think that part of the humor that is present is that he's hopefully unprepared, woefully unprepared for the physical journey he's going to take. So I'm curious what kind of wilderness training you had to undergo in preparation for the film, and how do you really feel about, being in nature?
Well, it to this is based on a real guy, Robert Pyle, who's still around, who I met with and kind of trained with a little bit. And to be fair to him, it was a conscious decision to make my portrayal of the character and the circumstances. He's much more naive and ill-equipped than the real Robert Pyle was. Um, but uh, so I did meet with a wilderness survivalist guy, and I went out into parts of the woods where we were going to shoot, enough to be able to, and I learned how to pitch a tent and do all those things you have to do for as the movie progresses and my character gets better and better. I mean, when you see me initially, I don't know what I'm doing, but uh, so I did meet with them, but that kind of, I the character doesn't really get to the point where you've got to like skin bark off a tree and boil it down and do all that stuff. I mean, there's a lot of berries in the, in the woods, so there's a lot of berry eating is not something you have to train for, but uh, I myself am not I would just say this because this has come up before, but I'm not a camper, but I do love the outdoors, if that makes sense. I like being outdoors, but then being able to go back indoors where the toilety is and the food and the warmth. So as much as I like being in the outdoors, and I do a lot, I am not like, doing this thing that this guy does. No way. I'd be lost. I'd give up after 3 days. I'd call in a helicopter to get me out of there. There's no way.
I completely agree with your perspective. I like the outdoors, but I'd like to be indoors when I can be indoors for all the, what I call, civilization, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, when I'm done being outdoors, I like to go indoors.
Totally agreed. So this film has a title, The Dark Divide, that makes it seem almost like a terrifying horror movie or something if you didn't know what it was about. Do you think that it accurately captures the spirit of what the film is?
Well, yeah, that's what the natives called that stretch. That was their term for it, the Dark Divide. That's going back, hundreds of years before it got colonized and taken over. But that was what the Native Americans indigenous to that region called it. They called it Dark Divide because it is. We shot there. It's intense. And I don't know the exact information. I wish I had it, but it is, I believe, the longest untrampled, that's not the right word, but stretch of nature in the contiguous 48 states. And there's no sign of civilization, no telephone pole, no nothing, no houses, no nothing, for a lot of it. And I think if you think about that part of the woods, it's 124 miles long, and you think about before electricity and before people had flashlights, and I mean, it must have been phenomenally imposing, especially on nights where there was a new moon. I mean, it must be, I mean, from my perspective, it's scary as hell, and and I've been in the woods a lot in my life, but I've never been in that kind of almost medieval, mythical, Middle Earth type of huge. The trees are 2 to 3 times as big as any trees I've ever seen. It's denser, it's lusher, it's you feel very small, physically very small in those woods.
Does this make you want to do more drama in the future?
I thought you were going to say, does it make you want to go out in the woods again?
Oh, we answered that. We answered that question already.
Yeah, of course. I mean, if it's a good, worthwhile project, absolutely. Yeah. And I've been doing a handful of things that are kind of more in this direction. Not necessarily purposefully, but they've just kind of come my way now. And if it's a good project, good writing, challenging role, yeah, happy to do it. Yeah.
That's great. Did you have any projects lined up?
I mean, I'm doing something now that is for HBO Max that I would not say it's not like this kind of dramatic thing, but it's definitely it's more dramatic than it is comic for sure. And I guess that's about it. The other stuff that I'm may potentially be doing is all comic. I'm kind of going through in my head what's out there.
Anything you want to share?
Not yet. No, not quite ready.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing about it.
Hey, you're gonna love it though. You're gonna like all of the projects except for one.
Why is that?
I can't tell you it. It's for national security purposes. I can't go into it.
Okay. Well, anyone watching can find out more about this film at darkdividefilm.com, and you can watch it on a number of streaming and on-demand platforms.
Tell them where they can watch it. Go ahead.
I believe Amazon, YouTube, a few others. Do you have any more you'd like to add?
Apple TV. Tubi, I don't know what that is. Pluto, I'm not sure what that is. Vudu, gosh, what else? IMDb.com-ish.
I thought giving the website would be enough information, but I guess I need to be prepared in the
you're
future.
Just asking people to make that one extra click, and you know how people are during a pandemic.
It's true. It's true. Well, I really appreciate you speaking with me today, and I wish you plenty of luck with this film and all of your future dramatic and comedic projects.
Well, thank you very much. I will see you later. Thank you, Abe.